Obedience is founded upon faith. You say, what do I mean? Don't look at obey, I want to do it, or disobey because I don't want to do it. Look at something else here. And this is what I tell my children this a lot. Okay, who loves you more than you love you? God. Who's wiser than you? God. So why do we obey His commands? Because God loves us more than we love ourselves and is wiser than we are. He wants more for us than we want for ourselves. He wants better for us than we want for ourselves. And He has shown us the way to do it when we don't know how. That's obedience. Obedience is born out of faith. So, young person, you've got this decision. You feel alone. You feel lonely. Maybe you're an older person, young person, and you desire a mate. And someone comes into your life, very handsome or very pretty, not a Christian, not mature, and now you've got to make a decision. You really want to be in a relationship. You really want to. There's nothing wrong with that. That's wonderful. But now you've got to say, God tells me to do something else. God isn't saying you can't be with this person. What He's saying is you can't be with them now. And maybe it will be you can't be with him ever. And you've got to sit there and go, okay, God's telling me no. Does God love me or not? Yes, He loves me more than I could ever. Does He love me more than I love me? And boy, that would be difficult. Yeah, He loves you more than you love you. And He loves you in the right way, where you and I don't love ourselves in the right way. So He loves me. Okay, is He smarter than me? Yeah, He's smarter than me. Does He know what's best for me when sometimes I don't know what's best for me? My wife says, look, you don't know what's best for you. I know what's best for you. And she does. Most of the time she knows what's best for me, especially with regard to eating broccoli. She knows what's best for me. So certainly God knows what's best for me. So if He says no, it's because He loves me more than I could ever know. And He's right about this. It will lead to my harm and not be good for me. Do you see how obedience changes when you look at it that way? Do you see how everything changes now? Isn't it amazing that when the book of James talks about temptation, probably the most important passage in the Bible about temptation in James chapter 1, that immediately people go, I hear preachers say this, now James is going to change. Well, let's just look real quick. Look real quick. Look at James 1. I want to show you something that will really help you with obedience. So James 1, you know what 13 through 15 is all about, right? It's about temptation. It's about temptation. Don't give in to temptation. Don't give in to temptation. Temptation gives birth to something that gives birth to something. You die. Do not give in to temptation. And then people get to verse 17 and they go, now James is going to change the theme. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Do not separate verse 17 from the temptation passage. Every good thing given and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shifting of shadow. What is he saying? This temptation is no good. It contradicts the will of God. And how do we know it's no good? Because every good and perfect gift comes from God. And if this isn't from God, it's not good and it's not perfect. So when you look at that young man or that young lady and they come outside of the context of who you can consider as a biblical mate, you look at that and the devil's going, now, fulfill the need, now. And you go, well, let's see how we can fight this. God loves me infinitely and perfectly. God's wisdom is the greatest. and God's wisdom wants the best for me, and this contradicts God's wisdom. Yeah, but now. So what I'm being told is, take this secondary, faulty perversion of God's will, because we don't want to wait for the good and perfect gift that God is going to give. Do you see that? So how do you come over temptation? By realizing this is bad. This is counterfeit. This is a substitute. And if I take this, I might miss this other thing, every good and perfect gift. So see, obedience is, well, I want the good and perfect gift. And that changes the way we think about obedience. Also, obedience is energized by joy. Also, obedience is not a burden. Obedience is the way of security and peace. You want to see a child who is nervous and scared and becomes angry? I'll show you a child that was never given parameters. The child doesn't know how to live. They do not know what's right, what's wrong. They have no standard by which to judge. Their conscience runs wild. Do you see that? So, how can I have security? Because God has given us specific commands so that we might know how to live. Let me give you an example. Let's say that I'm right here, back here, and the enemy's coming through this door, and I've got to make it across this room and out the other side. I say, what should I do? You say, well, run. You say, in what direction? Well, straight out the door. Sounds simple enough. But now let's look at it this way. It's true. Enemy's coming through here. If I don't get out of here, I'm going to die. And there's the door. But the entire floor underneath it has hidden landmines everywhere. And if I step in the wrong place, I'm going to die. Now I'm paralyzed with fear. I am literally paralyzed with fear. I'm going to die from what's coming through the door, but I can't navigate my way to where I need to be because I can't see around a corner. I can't see under the carpet. I don't know how to walk. But if I'm here and I have a book, a map, and it says 2 steps forward. Now 1 step to the left, okay? 5 steps forward. I can navigate myself through all the dangers of this life, even though I cannot see, even though I walk in darkness. I can navigate my way through the course of this life by the commandments and wisdom of God.